Our next game preview is in that same pod as the Auburn game, and that's the number 8 seed, the Louisville Cardinals, against the number 9 seed, Creighton Blue Jays. Both teams coming off losses in their conference championship games. Louisville to Duke, obviously, without Cooper Flagg, and Creighton to St. John's, despite leading for about 30 minutes of that game. I don't think that St. John's got a lead until like 10 minutes left in that game, 12 minutes left in that game. Like it was controlled primarily by Creighton, but here they are, both find themselves in this 8-9 with Auburn looming. Louisville, as we talked about already, probably misseeded. Bit unfortunate for them to find themselves in the same little pod as Auburn, but here they are.
Yeah, it would have been nice for them to get on the 6 or 7 line where they were kind of expected, maybe a little bit of an easier path. But yeah, I think they have some advantages in this game against Creighton. It starts with the ability to turn over Creighton. Creighton's typically really good with the ball, or in past years at least, but they just don't have the guard depth or just the ball handling skills in general this season. And they're 242nd in turnover rate on the offensive end, and Louisville's ball pressure is led by Chucky Hepburn. I think is going to give Stephen Ashworth a really tough time, and taking away the head of the snake basically of the offense, especially of the perimeter offense, I think is going to really muck things up for Creighton. Maybe Creighton can work through the post a little bit. I don't think Louisville has a real post up defender. Like James Scott he's a good center and he's a good defensive center, but he's not the kind of guy to handle the post up duties on the defensive end. They're going to have to send a second guy.
And my biggest worry too with James Scott, right, is that he can't really stretch the floor. So if he's not really able to guard Kalkbrenner on the defensive end, and they're having to send 2 anyway, I think that you're going to see a lot more Noah Waterman in this game, just so that he can stretch the floor a little bit. Even though he's not a great 3-point shooter either, he's at least a little bit more capable, I think, in like the mid 20%, which at least Kalkbrenner has to respect. And he is still a Division I player, so if he's going to get wide open threes, he's going to be capable of making some. But it's going to be really important for Louisville's offense to be able to drag Kalkbrenner out away from the rim, much like any team tries to do. So if James Scott is like in foul trouble or struggling to defend him on the defensive end, I think that Pat Kelsey's going to have no other choice but to kind of go away from him and bring in Waterman. So at least on the offensive end, they have an advantage.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. They're probably going to have to send 2 or, at least dig down on Kalkbrenner. So it would make sense to play a little bit smaller and just optimize your spacing. And it's huge that they're probably going to get Rain Smith back, who missed the entirety of the ACC tournament. And he's their best shooter by far. And he's one of the best shooters in the entire country. When he gets going, they turn into a really good offense. So yeah, I expect Louisville's defense to win this game, and the fact that they're playing in their home state of Kentucky. I don't really know how the hell they got that draw as the 8 seed, but going to the next round, they're going to get Auburn in Rupp Arena if they end up winning. So yeah, I do think they have advantages on both ends of the floor, like you said, especially with Waterman being able to space the floor. And if that's always the main matchup concern with Creighton's defense, if you can draw Kalkbrenner away from the rim, driving lanes are going to be wide open because the rest of Creighton's defense is fairly unathletic and you can really beat them off the bounce. So yeah, that's the key. And if that happens throughout the course of this game, I think Louisville can potentially run away with it.
Yeah. I actually am very strong on Louisville kind of dominating this game. I didn't know what to think of it when it first came out, but after really looking into it, I think, the turnovers, as you mentioned, Louisville forces over 13 a game. Creighton's a little over 12. But I think Louisville's defense has been playing even better over the last kind of recent stretch. Chucky Hepburn on Friday night against Clemson, he had Clemson in jail. Like Clemson could not score. I think he had 6 steals or something. he was just hounding, and I expect that to be the case here. He's going to be all in Chucky in Stephen Ashworth, which if Stephen Ashworth is struggling, right, then they have to look to Jemiah Neal, who's a bit of a flaky player. You never know what you're really going to get with him, and then Jackson McAndrew, Isaac Trout, who are both like not really guys that are going to put it on the deck, not great athletes. I don't really know where else they look. Zugic maybe. I mean, he's been better, but I think Louisville's defense has been pretty elite recently and not really talked about. So I think that wins them this game, as you said. But also offensively, I think they're going to be extremely comfortable, right? Like any team is against a Creighton defense, especially in the backcourt. Like Creighton only forces, I think they're fourth to last in the country in turnovers forced per game at like 8 point something. I just think they're going to be extremely comfortable, be able to get whatever they want, be able to shoot over the top of them, and especially if they get more Waterman, be able to get to the rim with ease. So I think athletically, right, McAndrew, Trout, I don't know if they're going to really be able to stay in front of guys like Hadley, on the wing. So I really like Louisville in this matchup. I don't think it's a great matchup for Creighton, and I think Louisville probably runs away with it.
For sure. And I mean, Louisville has extremely underrated defenders, even outside of Hepburn, who, I mean, he looks like the best point guard defender in the entire country. Like he showed flashes of that at Wisconsin, but he's kind of just been unleashed with Pat Kelsey. But you have other guys like, I mean, Terrence Edwards he's an underrated defender. Javon Hadley is an underrated defender, and they're all switchable. So, they can defend a lot of different styles, and they're going to be able to defend the 3-point line of Creighton. I mean, they defend the 3-point line at a pretty solid level. Like they don't allow a ton of catch and shoot opportunities. And, that's kind of where Creighton makes their money. And like you said, like if they can take away the head of the snake of Ashworth, I think they're going to have a ton of success, and Creighton might turn the ball over 20 times, and Louisville's going to be able to really get up and down, make this a fast-paced game, and I don't really think Creighton's comfortable doing that.
No, not at all. So look for Louisville to win this game and set up a date with Auburn in the second round.